Finally. And it's a close one too. The doctor says if it would have been any worse, then I would have gone legally blind. I even have the papers to prove it. I mean, just look.
Wow, Nintendo fanboys cannot resist the urge to freak the fuck out. What up, motherfuckers? George R.R. Martin here. Another day, another Steam Deck video. Seriously, at this point, it's like I've got my very own shitty Star Wars trilogy. I mean, there really is no end of salty Nintendo fanboys crying over the Steam Deck's announcement. Like, even though I've made 2 videos on the topic already, now 3, I've got a fucking backlog of videos to make. And you bet your ass I'm gonna be milking this topic for as long as I can. Harder than Rockstar milks GTA 5. I mean, the first video is almost at 2,000 views, which for a channel of this size is the equivalent of the second coming of Christ. And while the second video didn't do as well, it still did better than my average video. Which is why we're here yet again laughing at the sorrow of the Nintentards. I mean, these Nintentards really are something else. The first dude I made a video on had a pants fetish. 'Cause I wear pants! The second guy, while in the middle of making his video, got a fucking seizure or some shit. Oh, and his mom walked in on him crying over plastic, so he cut the video. I'm telling you, dude, all of these Nintendo fanboys are either homeless meth addicts you'd find in Kmart, or they're some neckbeard armchair pseudo-intellectuals living with their parents at the age of 30. But anyway, today we're gonna be taking a look at yet another Nintentard called Thatguywhogames, and his recent Dogshit video titled Steam Deck? A new Nintendo Switch? I guess the best way you could describe this dude is that he's a Scott the Woz clone. And I know calling someone a clone isn't exactly an original insult. I mean, you could make the argument that I'm just yet another commentary channel, which, by the way, if you think that, well, fuck you. I'm as original and real as it gets. But the point I'm trying to make here is that it's pretty apparent this guy takes heavy inspiration from Scott and completely fails at replicating that type of content, and instead creates pure retardation.
I would have gone legally blind. I even have the papers to prove it. I mean, just look.
He sounds like a crow with several missing chromosomes. But anyway, with that said, let's just get into this shit.
Man, I love gaming on the go. From the handhelds to the consoles that won't get any real upgrade. But if only it could get worse. What if I could game on the go and be the worst kind of gamer out there?
Even if he's joking, I fail to see how having a more powerful handheld system is a bad thing. If anything, maybe you'll get Nintendo to get their thumbs out of their asses.
With the success of the Nintendo Switch, of course there was gonna be competition. There was that Sony patent that went nowhere, and Valve decided, hey, we can actually make something. So this thing was announced not too long ago, and the fact that there are not only product images, but also pre-orders, it's just showing me that this thing is actually gonna come to the market.
Oh my god, what an amazing insight. Having product images and pre-orders means that the system will be available for purchase? Oh my god, who would have thought? In other news, the sky is blue, water's wet, and Nintentards lack common sense.
The thing is, which market is it really for?
The handheld and PC gaming market. I mean, the Steam Deck is the most powerful piece of portable hardware for its price. Like I've said this in my other videos, but you're not gonna be able to find a laptop that performs this well for the same price. But besides the Steam Deck being a great entry point into PC gaming, Lord Gaben himself said in an interview that Valve was looking for ways to innovate and give people more options.
Because while we do have the Nintendo Switch, let's be honest with ourselves, the market for the Switch is not the same as the market for the Steam Deck. Well, you can't slouch over in a grumbly voice and say it's for the gamer. The gamer.
Besides this video being pure fucking comedy genius, that was sarcastic by the way, if you couldn't tell, I really wanna know why this dude's Joy-Con is not slid in properly. Like that shit is triggering some sort of inner OCD within me. Nah, but overall, this next part is pretty lengthy and irrelevant, so with the power of editing, we will be fast forwarding this shit.
You gotta remember that there are 4 types of gamers and there are flavors of ice cream. For me, I'm an all-around gamer. I play what I like and that happens to be on every f***ing console, Jesus Christ. Well, I'm a big Nintendo nerd, I play a lot of games on the PC because, well, these games interest me, idiot. What else? Why else would I play games on the PC? If they didn't interest me, why would I buy them? You're asking stupid questions.
I don't remember asking you anything, so I think you just forgot to take your schizophrenia medicine and are talking with the voices in your head again.
I'm probably the only person to walk into a bar with copies of Persona 5 and Clay Fighter on the N64. Scientists don't know how to describe me.
You know, I never claimed to be the CEO of comedy. I mean, at the end of the day, all it comes down to is that I have a morbid sense of humor, and all it takes for me me to giggle like a schoolgirl is mentioning some tragedy that occurred in the course of human history. Said tragedies usually involve dictators with funny mustaches, but nonetheless, I don't get the fucking joke this dude is trying to make here. Walking into a bar with two drastically different video games, and scientists don't know what to describe you. Like, what the fuck? I am unable to locate the funny. I do have a suggestion for what the scientists should call you though, and it'd be mentally retarded.
So when I saw that this thing was being announced, you know, I gave a hard-earned shrug at that thing. I just don't see the appeal in it as much as a lot of other people do.
I don't think anyone watching this video was at all surprised to hear that, but keep in mind that this dude just said he doesn't see the appeal in it, even though in a matter of a few minutes from now he will go on to describe the benefits of PC gaming. So yeah, I really don't know what this man was thinking while making his video, besides how to suck Nintendo's dick even more.
The Switch works in my opinion because it's console gaming on the go. It's something that we all dreamt about, and now it's here. I can play Super Mario Galaxy with controls in my car. With PC gaming though, it's a bit different.
Yeah, no shit. When you compare a Switch to a gaming PC, there's bound to be a difference. I mean, that's kind of like comparing a cart wagon to a Tesla. But guess what? The Steam Deck is the best of two worlds. You get the portability of a Switch and all the functionality and features of Steam, alongside the more powerful hardware. I really don't get what's wrong about that, but I'm sure you'll find a reason to bitch and moan.
PC gaming is like really expensive food. It's there if you want it, but is it really gonna be miles better than a 4-for-4 at Wendy's?
So either I'm interpreting this wrong and I'm lacking several chromosomes, but what I'm guessing is that in his little analogy, the Wendy's is the Switch, and he's questioning if gaming PCs are better than a piece of plastic that is literally less powerful than the average smartphone that's released in the last 5 years or so. I mean, do I even need to elaborate?
Some argues yes, others say no. People who own an iMac said, well, it's a Steam to me, so why do people play games on PC to begin with? I can't speak for everybody, but for me, it's the controls. I like controlling my camera in-game with the mouse, and having the ability to fine-tune my graphics and frames per second is something I very much enjoy.
Okay, and luckily for you, you will still be able to do just that with the Steam Deck. I mean, at the end of the day, it really is just a portable PC with a fancy operating system out of the box. And if you don't like the controls, you can dock it like a Switch and connect a keyboard and mouse, or literally any other video game controller.
Multiplayer online for PC doesn't cost anything extra. Just own the game in your library and make sure your friends have it too. Games are more likely to go on sale, and if you purchase an indie game on PC, it's most likely to run better. Now let's take all of that and apply it to the Steam Deck. I don't think the same appeal is there.
You really got to love that just a moment prior, he literally gives you a list of reasons why people might prefer PC gaming, but the second that the Steam Deck comes into the equation, all of that just magically disappears just because it's portable.
This hunk of electronics feels so awkward to look at, and imagine trying to play it.
I mean, I did just that, and the first thing that came to mind was the pure fucking ecstasy of being able to play Skyrim with way too many mods portably, while taking a mean stinky shit. If anything, making these videos have made me want to get a Steam Deck even more.
Valve is really bad at making controllers, like really bad, and this is evident by the Steam controller. I wouldn't want my daughter going near this thing. It looks like it can spread leprosy.
Well, considering you look like a soy boy Hitler youth drop, I don't think that's a prospect you really need to worry about facing. But despite popular belief, the Steam controller was actually really good. My friend had one, so when I tried it, even though it felt a bit weird to play with that on second analog stick at first, once I got used to it, the controller was really accurate with my inputs and whatever.
So of course, when seeing this image, I just can't help but exclaim a good why and how. I even printed out a picture to show my family, and they all contracted a rash just by looking at it. Oh, my eyes are itchy! Oh, how does that work? Oh, how does that work?
Fucking comedy genius, but damn, what a waste of ink.
I just won't understand why Valve didn't take the route of the Wii U gamepad layout. While this thing is big and clunky, it feels good to play with in your hands.
Yeah, no, I've held a Wii U before, and besides the glossy plastic being a great fingerprint magnet, it felt like I was holding a freshly plucked, uncooked chicken. Also, the D-pad was stiffer than my dirty socks.
Here, it looks like I'll accidentally be pressing the X button with my thumbs every time I move the stick to the right. So much space is being taken up by these touchpads. I'm guessing this is going to be for games that require a mouse, but did they do this on the Steam controller? Yes. Did it really work out too well? No. So why would they do it again? 'Cause they're fucking stupid! stupid!
Is this dude gonna pull out a gun or some shit? But the only motherfuckers here that have the IQ of a goldfish are Nintentards very much like yourself. Actually, I take that back, seeing how that's an insult to goldfish. Jesus Christ, the Steam Deck really is living rent-free in the minds of many Nintendo main children. Nah, but the trackpads are definitely something I look forward to trying out the most when I eventually get my hands on the Steam Deck.
There are just so many buttons on the back too, like R4 and R5. I couldn't tell you what these are for. Are they programmable?
Yeah, they are. I mean, you would know that if you literally spent a grand total of 5 minutes on the front page of Steam where the Steam Deck was plastered with all the information. Like, this dude is pretending to be some technical genius but doesn't even know what remappable buttons are.
Seeing this makes me wonder if every game is going to be mapped the right way to this controller, or is it going to be something that you have to set up for each game? This is where I see different markets coming into play. People who are used to PC gaming might not have no problem with this. Give it to a random Joe Schmo and see if they know how to map things to the B button.
I mean, it's not fucking rocket science, but I don't know why this guy would give a Steam Deck to a random Joe Schmo, who probably has better things to do, like paying off the debt his divorce with good old Karen caused him.
While the Switch is underpowered and the company that sells it is being a brat lately, it just really is meant to be picked up and played. I have no doubt in my mind that the Steam Deck will 100% require a Steam account, and that already puts off a bunch of people because they might not have one.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my fucking god, the fucking horror! I have to make a free Steam account with setup that would take a total of 2 minutes at most. Oh, the horror. It really feels like this dude ran out of things to bitch and moan about. Not that any of them were relevant and is now grasping for straws.
Also, let me ask you this, how many people actually know what a Steam is?
Well, Steam has 120 million monthly active users at the very least.
And how many of those people are above the age of 14?
Ha! Joke's on you, motherfucker. I turn 16 next month. GG outplayed. But you know someone is desperate when they turn to the argument of, oh, well, your age demographic are just children. Even if that was true, I really want to know what the ideal age demographic is for Nintendo in this guy's eyes. I'ma tell you right now that a significant amount of those motherfuckers are something between a homeless meth addict and a 30-year-old neckbeard living with their parents. And my last 2 videos on the Steam Deck are proof of that.
Second off, there's no real way to pack in a title or anything, so they'll just have to buy a game at the Steam store, and that's not the easiest thing to roam around through. You ever try to find a new game that you haven't heard of before in the Steam shop? Yeah, neither have I. It's really only the AAA titles half the time on the homepage, and I guess that's a selling point, but still. I've never found any of the games that I actually own on the homepage, aside from maybe GTA 5.
Has this man never heard of a search bar or looked through the categories? Like, this is such a fucking non-issue, but of course CEO of comedy over here needs to throw a tantrum like a spoiled child. You wish you would have aborted while you still had the chance. But the great thing about a platform like Steam is that games are cheaper. Even without Steam's constant discounts and sales, developers aren't pulling the bullshit they are on consoles, where games now cost $70. Also, you can use websites like CD Keys to get a game like Dying Light 2 for $46 instead of $60, even though the game hasn't come out yet. Isn't that great?
So next question, if this thing comes out and actually does super well, will convince Nintendo to finally make a Switch that has more power to it? Well, in the likely event that Nintendo looks out to real world, chances are, nope. We've seen the Switch OLED announcement, and it sucked. Many people have been desperately holding out hope for a new Nintendo Switch that is more powerful and has focus on dock gameplay. Seeing that the Switch Lite had a focus on handheld gameplay, well, Nintendo looked at all that hype and said, you, here's a screen that's 0.8 inches bigger. Deal with it, asshole. While some of the changes were honestly great, it didn't work a new model. People want a new hardware that can help developers work their games better and make them look better too. I don't want to play Witcher, but it looks like a sad sack of breadcrumbs. With the Steam Deck, it's clear that it's gonna have more power. I mean, it's competing with the Switch.
Yeah, not really. The Steam Deck doesn't need to steal Nintendo's customers to be successful. But like I said before, Lord Gaben stated that the Steam Deck was a way for Valve to innovate the PC gaming space and give people more options.
And it was announced after everyone made a fuss about the OLED Switch. I mean, it turned heads. Everyone was talking about it. This thing is going to be able to play games that the Switch could never even run.
Once again, man, modded Skyrim on the shitter is gonna be orgasmic.
That's another thing. With this thing now being out, it's gonna do more than just play games that are on the PS5 and Xbox. It's gonna go beyond that. Like porn games!
I mean, if you're into that, good for you, man, but after playing a game where in the intro a dude's literal cause of death was performing top on himself, that was where I had enough, and I think I'll just stick to overmodded Bethesda games.
The GTA games, the Batman Arkham games, Dead Rising, Gary's Mod, Dead or Alive, all haven't been put onto the Switch yet, and they will most likely be available day one on the Steam Deck. To be able to play any GTA game on the go is kind of mind-blowing.
Yeah, all of those are definitely potential selling points to someone. Yet somehow you're still gonna find a reason to have a problem with it.
I've been a believer that GTA 5 could come to the Switch, but with the Steam Deck, it might not have to. Not to mention, there are also older titles on the Steam store, like Sonic Adventure. I mean, there's just gonna be a lot of titles that are not going to be seen as released on the Switch, and if they are going to be released on the Switch after this thing comes out, then What's the selling point?
Bro, are you fucking retarded? Like, pretty much this entire video so far, amongst a few uninformed takes, you've been listing so many reasons why the Steam Deck is a worthwhile purchase. I mean, a literal moment ago, you were saying how Steam's game library makes the Switch blush, yet you don't know what the potential selling point is? You know, I feel like I'm gonna get an aneurysm for making this video. The amount of times I have had to repeat myself has fried my brain harder than if you would have gone skinny dipping with electric eels.
What's the selling point? I mean, the big thing about the Switch is that the portability is a selling point these days. You know, geez, I'm sorry, but hey, it's still a thing. You play the on the first time ever. Once this thing releases, it's no longer a selling point now. It's not the same thing. This is the same thing. Now, a lot of third parties working with that. Games, smartphone, and these are easier to come from. Take our sales ones. Now, the Switch on the other hand is going to fly on somebody sells it, just they're fine. That's not to say that when third-party games do come to the Switch that they look great. In fact, they look like a bag of potato chips that was crumbled up and crushed and was left out for 3 weeks before you ate it. But who's to say that won't be the case for the Steam Deck?
Yeah, there's no chance that the Steam Deck won't be able to run games at good graphic settings. I mean, that is one of the great things about PC gaming, and it's how you're able to configure games to your liking. I mean, you even said so yourself earlier, but I guess all of this just goes out the window because the Steam Deck is portable.
Putting a lot of power into a small device like this is not easy. So maybe when you do play GTA 5 on this thing, it looks like it would run on the PS2. Or the PS1, or the Vectrex. My point is that the Steam Deck is most likely going to face the same issues as the Switch, but I do believe it will be more powerful.
I mean, you say it's more powerful, but you make the claim that the Steam Deck is going to face the same issues as the Switch, just like what the fuck? This man is a walking contradiction. And once again, there is no way that the Steam Deck won't be able to run games at good graphic settings with a decent frame rate.
Seeing as this thing has to be a PC at heart, you can even dock it to use it as a desktop, there has to be an ability to customize your gaming experience. You can sacrifice the frames per second for graphics and vice versa.
Here you are listing all these features and functionality options throughout pretty much the whole video. Yet you still find something minor to complain about. That probably is a non-issue to most people.
On the Switch, you're kind of owned. Whatever the developers made the game optimized for is what you're gonna get, and that's just not fun. I don't want to play Kirby at 30 frames, damn it. Might as well just discontinue one of the 10 commandments while we're at it, because all that's good in the world is just gone now. I mean, when you really think about it, the Steam Deck is looking to be a great buy. Just hope that when you look at the prices, it doesn't hurt your already rashed up eyes. Ah, god damn it! How I'm wearing sunglasses! No!
Oh my god, that was so hilarious that I forgot to laugh. You know, besides the fact that I'm not surprised he's big mad about the price, I think I get more entertainment out of watching paint dry rather than watching this video.
What in the name of impossible to get Big Time Rush Revival concert tickets is this? So for the base model, you'll be paying $400. What does that get you? It gets you a console with much lower specs than the 2 other models.
The only difference is the storage, which the lowest 64GB model outperforms typical hard drives people use for games. Besides that, all the specifications remain the same. One rumor that was going around for a while was that the storage in the $399 model was anemic, when once again, in reality, it's faster than the average hard drive. The only issue you could have is the size, but honestly, if I were you, then I'd just get a micro SD card, you're gonna be fine.
What? I know why this is here. It's to say that this thing goes on sale for $400, when in reality, if you want hardware that's not outdated, you're going to be paying $130 more just to have an SSD. In case you're unaware, SSDs are way faster than the standard hard drive and are preferred because they offer quicker load times.
Yeah, no shit, and the EMMC storage is a nice in-between, and you're gonna be fine. But you cannot make the claim this system is outdated in any shape or form, when it's literally built on AMD's latest architectures and whatnot. The only thing that's outdated is the Switch. Literal fucking phones have more power than that shit.
It's been a standard in the PC building market for a while, and heck, it's been put in the modern consoles. But fuck you, pay $530 just to have the privilege of one. I feel like the prices are just not justified on any of the larger memory models. Who would pay $650 for this thing?
Who would pay for this? Oh, I don't know, someone who wants faster and more storage alongside the other stuff Valve threw in with the more expensive options. But as far as the Steam Deck's price being quote-unquote unjustified, bro, what are you smoking? Like, I've seen motherfuckers bitch and moan about the price. Like, no shit, a system that is better than the Switch in every regard is gonna cost more.
I know PCs aren't cheap, but it's experimental hardware that costs more than a PS5 at retail.
No, the cheapest model of the Steam Deck matches the cheapest model of the PS5 in price, so that is factually incorrect.
Resellers, though, it's totally acceptable. It's a Switch competitor, yet it's $100 more at its lowest price.
Oh my god, paying $100 more for an infinitely superior experience in literally every way imaginable? Oh, this is just terrible. Valve needs to be held accountable for the war crimes they've committed against the gaming community. Oh, but paying $350 for an OLED screen and a fucking Ethernet port? Oh, that's just fine. Nintendo truly are a fucking saint.
That's like boasting that you got good grades in school only for those grades to be C pluses and maybe 1B.
You know, I don't want to make any accusations, but I must say he's speaking from experience because he isn't very bright. If this video is anything to go off by.
There's so much hype going on around this thing, and yet I don't think it's gonna sell well at all.
Wow, what a shocker. A Nintentard thinks that the Steam Deck isn't gonna do well. Guys, I think he's still in denial over that Switch OLED announcement. Also, I just realized this motherfucker is wearing MLG glasses. Jesus Christ. 2015 called, they want their shitty sense of humor back.
I mean, let's be honest, people who own a Switch already have something to play these games on the go. They're not going to lug around another device with them. People who already game on a PC aren't gonna buy this thing because they already own a PC. Shocker, I know!
Yeah, people who play on PC aren't gonna buy this thing at all, even though the Steam store kept fucking crashing when the Steam Deck was put up for pre-orders.
They wouldn't even want to switch to this thing anyway because of the early set of arthritis they'll get after playing with these controllers.
Okay, buddy, you're really gonna sit here and say that people are gonna get cramps using the Steam Deck when it's literally larger than the fucking Switch? I mean, if anything, I'd get arthritis from the Switch. There's a video by a channel called Handheld Obsession that 3D printed a Steam Deck, and in comparison, the Switch looks tiny. Like, the only way you can find the Switch comfortable is either if you're 7 or you have baby hands.
The casual market won't touch this thing because they don't even know what a Steam is.
There are more Steam accounts than Switches sold, so if anything, I'd say more people know about Steam.
I know you can do more than just Steam. You can install Windows 10 and get your beloved programs like Blender, Discord, and Internet Explorer, but unless you know what you're doing, it's not a system seller because nobody wants to jump through hoops just to do that kind of thing.
Yeah, most people are gonna stick to the out-of-the-box experience, and the Steam Deck will deliver more than enough, so yet another non-issue.
It could be a cool little emulation machine and help content creators capture game footage on the go, but like, $400 worth of that? Yeah, no thanks. I'd rather gamble it all on black at the casino that I'm not old enough to enter and lose it all. And yet somehow, I would still feel like I got my money's worth.
Wow, that's got to be one of the stupidest things I have ever heard. But honestly, Nintendo fanboys have a track record for being fucking retarded and lacking any brain cells to rub together. In the first video I made, the dude was grasping at straws so hard he involved pants of all things. The second guy overall was an armchair neckbeard pseudo-intellectual. And now, this man over here would rather lose all of his money in a casino rather than buying a $400 Steam Deck. The amount of mental gymnastics for that to remotely make any sense at all is immeasurable.
I feel like the Steam Deck is just too late to the game. If this thing came out within a year of the Switch, then maybe it would be more interesting to look at, but in today's age, I see it as nothing more than a gimmick, a trend follower, something to compete with the Switch, but not really fully understanding why the Switch works to begin with.
The only thing that the Switch has going for it is its portability and exclusives, most of which I could give two fucks about, seeing how I only give a shit about Metroid Prime, but that hasn't gotten a new game since 2007, and Zelda games are very hit or miss, and there are any to outdo Wind Waker. I fucking love Wind Waker. That shit slaps harder than the belt when you're getting a little good old beating at the age of 9, but seeing how the Steam Deck is essentially a Switch on steroids, I think it'll do just fine.
You know what, hey, I think my eyesight's actually coming back. Oh yeah, finally. And it's a close one too. The doctor says if it would have been any worse, then I would have gone legally blind. I even have the papers to prove it. I mean, just look, ah!
Comedy.
No! No, not again!
Nah, but that's pretty much where that stinky shithole of a YouTube video ends. And quite honestly, if this guy going blind means he doesn't make any more shitty YouTube videos, I will look at that as nothing but a blessing in disguise. Case closed. Nah, but that's gonna do it for this video. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, or else the CEO of comedy over here is gonna come over to your house and kill you with his cringe, which essentially emits radiation. So I guess if you don't want to succumb to acute radiation poisoning, as if you were skinny dipping in Chernobyl's reactor, make sure to do the aforementioned things. But in all seriousness, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.
So creamy with a crunch. The EMMC is what I'm thinking of, and it only could be found in my Reese's Puffs. Peanut butter chocolate, great when separate, but when they combine, they make the morning time epic. Morning time epic. Morning time epic. R-double-E-S-E-S. T to the U-double-E-S.